Today on the Topic Show, Trump's Truth Social Cofounder sells $100 million worth of shares. You also have a Haitian politician going viral for drinking water from a pitcher during a UN speech. U.S. is fast-tracking people to become citizens right before the election. Actress Maggie Smith, aka Professor McGonagall, passes away at age 89. Costco gold sales are nearly up double digits. Starlink hits 4 million subscribers. And Boars had allegedly killed a 10th person due to their recalled meat products. All of that and much more on The Topping Show. Thank you everyone for taking the time to tune in today. Today's episode of The Topping Show is proudly sponsored by Topping Technologies. Topping Technologies is an IT value-added reseller and services company with a special proficiency IT security. Heck, I see their founder at least twice a day. Gotta say he's quite handsome and brilliant. He's me, you see, that's the joke. If you're an IT leader or a business owner, reach out to the team at sales@toppingtechnologies.com. Also, trying to get to 4,000 subscribers by the end of the month. So if you can click that button and tell your friends, I would greatly appreciate it. Now, going over to the business part of the podcast, you have Costco gold sales up nearly double digits as Americans try to escape the ever painful thing of inflation, thanks to the government printing more money, thanks to politicians on the left and the right eroding the dollar to be basically worth, well, darn near next to nothing. Now, this is brought to us thanks to the OG search engine, Yahoo Finance. Safely giving credit to Brooke DePalma and Brian Sozi, who are writers over there. They quote, Costco is still selling gold bars like hotcakes as prices surge. There you can see I believe it's literally called 1 ounce gold bar PAMP Susie Lady Fortuna Parisian, new in SA. I am not intentionally, but probably butchering most of the pronunciation there. Now they say, quote, Costco is slinging a lot of gold bars as prices for yellow metal continues to surge. Sales of gold are up double digits in the most recent quarter. Costco CFO Gary Millerchip told analysts on an earnings call. He went on to add that the gold was, quote, meaningful tailwind to the e-commerce sales that quarter. Costco began selling the gold bars in fall 2024. Wells Fargo analysts estimate that Costco is selling between, 100 million to 200 million gold bars each month. That's astronomical. Now they say, quote, the most recent gold performance led to a tongue-in-cheek moment at Costco's call was near the ending of its commencement. Veteran Evercore ISI analyst Greg Milch asked executives, quote, given the non-food and success here, I'm just curious, are there any plans to bring Kirkland's signature into the gold bullion market? And of course, that's their private label for all the things that if you're not getting a brand like Pepsi or Coca-Cola or whatever brand they carry at the moment, they have the Kirkland brand, which is just, their white label. Now, the CEO, Ron Varchis, says, quote, no plans at this time, which, I mean, given the volume of gold they're probably selling, it's not the worst idea out there. And again, when it comes to these types of gold purchases, I don't think anyone really cares what fancy logo is stamped onto it. Heck, I think people would actually buy some of those gold bars, the Costco logo, just partially for the novelty. And yeah, I mean, old vintage coins people do buy for the the beauty and the artwork. I mean, this one, it's not an ugly gold bar, but it's just, it's like the Fruit de Loom logo when you're from your old clothing you used to wear back in the day. I guess some people might like that design. Now they say, quote, it's likely that Costco's gold business will stay lucrative in the near-term future. They also have IDX CIO Ben McKillen talking to Yahoo Finance, saying that after years of gold being sleepy, is now firing on all cylinders as investors look to de-risk their portfolios. McMillan, again, Ben McMillan, who is the IDX CIO, says, quote, gold historically has been kind of associated with very risk-off and very light to safely handled types of trades and hard landing recessions. Despite the hefty sales of gold, Costco bread and butter is still hawking products like bread and butter to cost-conscientious shoppers. Its fiscal fourth quarter same-store sales growth came in at 6.9% compared to the estimates of 6.4%. E-commerce sales jumped, 19.5%, slightly lower than expected 19.63% that Wall Street was projecting. So it caused their stock to dip a little bit. In terms of all the things to invest in, I always think it's interesting because historically speaking, gold, again, this is financial advice. You have to have that caveat because fun, litigious things we are in America. But this is where a lot of people will buy gold because they're worried about the doomsday and what will they do when the collapse of the U.S. dollar. Granted, the collapse of the U.S. dollar is basically here with the hyperinflation, but it's an instance where people think, what are you going to use when the lights turn off and the internet dies? Which, sure, but that being said, when you think about it, if you're trying to trade with the average American, how many average Americans can tell the difference between gold and fool's gold? And how many of them have little scales there, to actually weigh the gold as well. Sure, it says 1 troy ounce or whatever that it says on the bar of the coin, but do you really trust that? So I do find it kind of fascinating. And again, I think, shoot, I can't but think, oh yeah, inflation wasn't too bad when we actually linked it to the US dollar at the gold standard, but nevertheless, it is not too surprising to see more and more Americans buy up gold in droves, and a lot of them think it's going to be a good long-term investment. Granted, this isn't investment advice, but yeah, Costco, that continues to be one of the top ones. And just for the novelty of it, if I had a little extra jingle in my pocket, I would probably get a Costco branded gold bar just because of the hilarious novelty, and also kind of a testament of how kind of the weird things that Costco will do for the customers, because they historically have some of the best values. They're going to be a great value to consumer because it's going to be very low margin for them because they make all their money from the the membership fees. So it's not too surprised to see the sale of gold from Costco continue to go up and up and up. And I wouldn't be surprised to see if they just continue that, as again you have unprecedented economical and political uncertainty, and people are looking to invest in things that they view as more stable and that more limiting than the US dollar, which they just print like a money machine, like basically a kid with a printer at home. But let me in the comments, because as always, be fascinated to hear what you have to say. Other interesting business news: you have Starlink hits 4 million subscribers as the company continues to grow like weed. And yet another thing, granted not publicly traded yet, but yeah, yet another thing that Elon has defied all odds and is building a very profitable business in. Now this comes to us thanks to TechCrunch.com. Specifically, Aria, who's right over there, says, quote, Starlink hits 4 million subscribers. You can see one of the images from SpaceX looking down upon the Earth. They say, quote, SpaceX Starlink satellite internet network is expected to hit a new customer milestone this week. President Gwen Shotwell told Texas legislators last Tuesday. This week, by the way, we will pass 4 million customers for Starlink, which is quite exciting, she said while testifying before the State House Appropriations Committee meeting. The milestone would mean that SpaceX had gained 1 million new customers since the end of May alone. That outpaces the company's already impressive growth rate. Starlink started providing beta service of its product in October 2020, hitting 1 million subscribers in December 2022, 2 million subscribers in September 2023, and 3 million in May. The constellation now comprises nearly 6,000 satellites, with service available in near 100 countries to individual users as well as large enterprise customers like major airlines and cruise lines, which was mid or early last week they had that relationship where they actually did have their first commercial aviation contract to have the Starlink internet service provider in the United Airlines planes. They say the track is on service. Oh my gosh. They generate 6.6 billion in revenue this year, an increase from roughly 1.4 billion just 2 years ago, according to research and consulting analyst Quality Space, which appropriate company to be doing research on Elon's companies. Quality Space. Makes sense. I say Starlink is central to SpaceX overall plan to commercialize and eventually explore space. While the company has continued to raise money from investors, CEO Elon Musk has said for years that revenue from the broadband internet service would help further the development of the massive reusable rocket, Starship, in turn bringing Starship online to help the company launch even more Starlink satellites with greater cadence. Starlink has become the undisputed giant of satellite internet. Since starting service, it has taken increased market share from legacy incumbents like Vista and SES, which operate large satellite and higher geostationary orbit. There are also a handful of other constellations currently in the works, notably Amazon's Project Kuiper, but they have yet to commence commercial service. Which, yeah, there's a lot of copy-paste between Elon Musk and, or rather, Jeff Bezos, just copy-pasting Elon Musk's ideas. But it doesn't seem to have quite a successful track record in terms of actually executing those ideas. And this is pretty cool. It'll be really interesting to see. I suspect in our lifetime, again, get that price point down enough, get the reliability enough. They have that partnership with T-Mobile, so you can start getting the satellite calls from your cell phone if that's your mobile carrier. I think that was 4 or 5 months ago. Again, none of this financial advice, and I don't think Elon will actually do an IPO of the company because it's a trade-off. You get a massive amount of money that the business can use to expand, but you also lose control. There's trade-offs being publicly traded. And after the issues he had with the Tesla being publicly traded and having less control and having to worry about quarterly results versus the long-term visions that he has, I don't suspect he'll ever actually have an IPO for SpaceX. Maybe you're wrong. Maybe by the time this video is rendered and uploaded, it'll already be publicly traded. People be putting down their money left and right to invest in it. But yeah, I've tried the opportunity to invest in SpaceX. I definitely would. Shoot, the hardest part is already done there. I got the rockets to work. That was an epic story in and of itself. And it's really cool to see this type of disruption. It's going to be great for consumers because, again, more options the better. more reliability of service. You're going to have that, thanks to good old competition, of the prices going down. And yeah, I don't, yeah, the traditional legacy infrastructure of having, I mean, spoiler alert, cell phones use the cell towers, which is, I believe, American Telecom. There's one company that owns the majority of them. Then they kind of brokered out between the major telecom providers, being AT&T, Verizon, T-Mobile. I mean, to have an instance where you no longer have to worry about being close to a cell tower, especially great for remote users or folks who are, going to the Midwest and some of those areas where there's not as many of those towers. I mean, just think the cost decrease, not having to worry about the maintenance of those towers or deploying new towers. I mean, it is going to be a huge upside for a lot of folks. It wouldn't, I mean, they're friends today. You got that relationships with T-Mobile, but who knows? A couple years, maybe they put them out of business. I mean, it'll be interesting to see. But as I always say, time shall tell. Going over to the culture part of the podcast. Unfortunately, you have Maggie Smith, best known for Harry Potter and Downton Abbey, passing away last week at age 89. One of the best actresses, bar none, and a voice darn near perfection. I really wish she did more audiobooks. Extremely distinctive. And we'll dive into the actual article, but maybe just to go down memory lane, I thought it'd be cool to do a brief compilation of I know she's done many works, but to me, she'll always be Professor McGonagall from the good old Harry Potter series, which, I mean, obviously doesn't hold a candle next to the books. And if you want an audiobook, I mean, Jim Dale's interpretation is phenomenal, especially if you have kids. And I mean, I think Jim Dale is the best audiobook vocal artist for the Potter series, but I partially digress. Go ahead and watch a minute or two of Professor McGonagall.
That was bloody brilliant.
Oh, thank you for that assessment, Mr. Weasley. Perhaps it would be more useful if I were to transfigure Mr. Potter and yourself into a pocket watch. That way one of you might be on time.
We got lost.
Then perhaps a map. I trust you don't need one to find your seats. Oh, my goodness. Explain yourselves, both of you.
Well, I don't understand. Is that bad? It's bad.
Good evening. No, you heard me correctly, Mr. Malfoy. You see, honourable as your intentions were, you too were out of bed after hours.
You're going to expel us, aren't you?
Not today, Mr. Weasley.
We can't cancel Quidditch.
Silence would.
I could go.
I can't. Only a parent or a guardian can sign. Since I am neither, it would be inappropriate.
What? Do nothing? Offer him up as bait? I mean, Potter is a boy, not a piece of meat. Is that a student?
You will do well to remember it.
Wait. Silence! The House of Godric Gryffindor has commanded the respect of the wizard world for nearly 10 centuries. I will not have you in the course of a single evening besmirching that name by behaving like a babbling, bumbling band of baboons. Right hand on my waist.
What?
My waist. And extend your arm.
Not at all, Dolores. Merely your medieval methods.
Something you'd like to say, dear?
Oh, there are several things I would like to say. Mr. Davis! Mr. Davis, that is the girls' lavatory. Something happens. It is always you three.
Students in the corridor!
They are supposed to be out of bed, you blithering idiot.
Let me get this straight, Professor. You're actually giving us permission to do this?
That is correct, Longbottom.
To blow it up? Boom!
Boom!
Of the host school, I expect each and every one of you to put your best foot forward, and I mean this literally, because the Yule Ball is first and foremost a dance.
You can't get more iconic than that voice. That's one of the best out there. That's also the broadcast thanks to Daniel Arkin, who's right over at NBC News, as well as, well, yeah, somehow some business. I've seen another compilation of her. They say, quote, Maggie Smith, the two-time Oscar-winning actress, best known for playing the stern Professor McGonagall in Harry Potter movie franchise, and the heart-tongued, what the heck is this, Dowager Countess? You can tell I definitely have never seen Downton Abbey. They, quote, died past Friday. Her publicist and children confirmed. She was 89 years old. Her son, Charles Larkin and Toby Stevens, paid tribute to her mother in a joint statement. Quote, it was with great sadness we announced the death of Maggie Smith. She passed away peacefully in the hospital early this morning. And they say several highlights in terms of won Academy Awards for performances in The Prime and Miss Jean Brody 1969, California Suite in 1978. Earned 4 Emmy Awards, including 3 for her role in Violet Crawley in Downtown. Or Downton. I don't know how to pronounce that. I know it was British. Which, yeah, I mean, one of the few movies, I'll drive a little bit more. Apologies there. She also received Tony nominations for her performances in plays Private Lives and Night and Day before winning the Best Actress prize in Lettuce of Lettice of Lovage in 1990. Same year, she was made a dame by Queen Elizabeth II. She was born on December 28th, 1938 in Essex, England. She studied acting at Oxford's Playhouse School and made her professional acting debut in the production of Shakespeare's Twelfth Night in 1952. And definitely one of the best, one of the GOATs or the greatest of all time. I know she did, obviously, she did a lot of awesome things. Just, a lot of people in my generation, I think a lot of folks, she's just really, no one will ever forget her for being a Professor McGonagall. So it is, thankfully, Silver Lining looks like, she lived a long, well life. Hear that she died of natural causes, didn't die in any pain. So it's, thankfully, there's a silver lining in that situation, and she's always going to be beloved. And out of curiosity, what was your favorite performance she ever had, and what's your favorite thing to rewatch where she starred? Let me know in the comments, because as always, be fascinated to hear what you have to say. Other interesting cultural news, you have Trump's co-founder of Truth Social selling $100 million of stock, which is quite concerning because the lockout period is done, meaning all the executives are now allowed to freely sell their stock as they wish. And Trump has repeatedly said, and every time he does say it does bump the stock a little bit up. Spoiler, overall the stock is still crashing like an airplane, Boeing specifically, and none of this is financial advice. But yeah, every time Trump says he's not going to sell it, the stock, jumps up a little bit. I mean, overall, the trend is terrible. The company's not profitable. They're bleeding capital left and right with expenses just adding up ridiculously, almost as worse as the U.S. government, which is saying something. And a lot of people are concerned about the long-term viability of Truth Social. Again, you have a lot of issues in terms of, well, what's a compelling business use case for it to exist? I mean, it used to be, and again, I still contend that if Elon did not buy X Twitter, then there'd be much more of a compelling reason. But you kind of almost like a trifecta of free speech these days. You have Rumble, which is exceptional. That's where I always tell people to tune into this show. Fascinatingly enough, if a couple of videos get deleted on the good old YouTube, specifically critique Kamala or certain things that come in vials and are injected. But I partially digress. You do have Rumble, which is great for free speech. You also have X Twitter, and they also have Truth Social. So you have 3 instead of you used to have none. So there used to be a huge demand for something like Truth Social, especially when you have the Facebook censoring people left and right. So there used to be, a huge use case for it. And Trump famously was deplatformed on X Twitter because of their Marxist leftist ways, wanting to censor the current, at the time, as president of the United States. Is ridiculous, but nevertheless, that caused a big outrage, big backlash. And people who truly love Trump the most, they're on Truth Social every day because that is still where he posts first. I mean, recently he's gone back to X Twitter and other social media platforms, so you don't have that exclusivity anymore. But in terms of the volume of what he mostly posts, it's still on Truth Social. Now, this article is brought to us thanks to good old specifically Matt. I shouldn't say good old, I don't even know the guy, but nevertheless, yeah, Matt, who's a writer over at CNN Business, which is fascinatingly enough still in business. I probably account for 1% of the network's traffic these days, as I try to look at all things in terms of news outlets. And every once in a while, they have some accurate stuff. And I say, quote, Trump Media co-founder and former apprentice contestant dumps about $100 million worth of stock. Yep. And there you can see Trump's little Truth Social right there on this. Let's see here. Yeah, there you go on his little cell phone there. And I say, quote, a major Trump Media shareholder and former contestant president unloaded almost his entire stake. Ooh, that hurts. And for President Donald Trump's social media company, although stock has been quite volatile, the stake was worth roughly $100 million at current prices. United Atlantic Ventures, an inspiring name, but managed by Trump Media and Technology Group, and co-founder Andy Linsky now owns just 100 shares of the company. Geez, that's basically nothing. And you go from $100 million, so what is the current price? You go up around $16 per share. Again, by the time I sneeze or cough, it'll be a different price. But just about Truth Social stock. And shoot, I know friends who have more than 100 shares. All right, so let's say, oh geez, it went down again. Ouch. So last Friday it went down. Just last Friday alone, it crashed 24%. Really? Jeez Louise. Well, go ahead and pull out the good old calculator here. Granted, it's 100, so really, we shouldn't need it. But let's pretend we went to public school. So you have 100 shares. Then we're going to multiply that by $14.75 per share. Or just move the decimal place over. But you get $1,475. We have now added more value to the education system than some public school teachers. Yes, the bar is that low, 32-year ACT score, and yet teachers unions say they deserve more money. Another topic for another time, perhaps, but nevertheless, less than $2,000 of stock left. That I almost thought that was a typo the first time I read it, because yeah, 100 shares. Which again, I mean, 200, almost $1,500 due to $2,000. That's a lot of money to me. I mean, shoot, that's almost a month's rent. But nevertheless, in terms of going from $100 million to $2,000, basically, that's basically nothing. And historically speaking, founders, they fight tooth and nail to keep a lot of their shares of the company because that's a lot of the control of the company. So, I mean, that's why, I mean, on paper, Elon Musk is the richest man on the planet, basically, or depending on when I'm recording this, when it uploads, he is. But he isn't, I mean, if you were to sell it, the price of the stock would go down. So you could debate, can't really sell it all at once, then you lose more control of the company. I mean, historically, founders hold on to that stuff like it's their baby. You really don't get rid of the stock. Yeah, this guy basically just got rid of all of it. He's the co-founder of the company. So that means he thinks the stock's not going to go up. Because again, if he thought the stock was going to go up exponentially, well, you can just, maybe just, I say it just doubles. That's still a huge feat in and of itself. But you wouldn't sell the stock if you thought it was going to be a good long-term investment. But yeah, now of course they say the attorney for that venture did not immediately respond for comment. They say the sale is not shocking, given that Litinsky and Trump Media have been mirrored in legal battle over the shares. And I'm curious, actually, what do the comments have to say? Because there's a comment section on CNN. I'm not sure how many are censored. Now, one of the first ones comes from CNN user H05QSL. Half these have similar usernames. It's pretty uninspiring. But nevertheless, I'll find more interesting if you see the actual picture of the graphic. But they say, quote, "You guys are going to have to get used to saying President Trump in the near future. Probably should start practicing." Now, this is CNN, so if you're going to have I'm actually fascinating as someone who is more, no, I feel like people who are more right-leaning on average do seek out additional data and viewpoints. But it is funny that this person said that, and they got 5 downvotes, or thumbs down, and 0 thumbs up. Let's see here. You did have some respond saying he's already been president, so you always will have that title troll. America the Free says, why does he still have a job after doing this? Which, being one like, which, yeah, if you're the co-founder of the company, if you're leading the company, and you sell everything you own, basically everything you own to the company, yeah, kind of, that's gonna be an awkward day at the office. So, Bob, or it's not really his name, but boss, you just sold all your shares. Are you really confident you're gonna be able to lead this company? Yeah, are you confident this company's gonna grow? Probably not a high degree of confidence there. Let's see. Melody says, and the sheep just keep lining up to get sheared, getting 7 likes, which I'm sure they're referring to some people who are diehard Trump fans who bought the stock just because Trump was involved. I'm not sure. And I almost do wonder how many people care if they make money on the stock, because there are activist investors on the left and the right. Are there some people who are just buying the stock just because they believe in Trump that much? They want to help him in an additional way to the kind of the standard, buying merchandise and doing political donations. You also have, let's see here. What is this here? Looking on the top comments here. CNN user HRM00 says, I'm glad they made money off Trump after he tried to cheat them. Getting 2 thumbs up. Password, interesting username, says, quote, the rich get richer while I await my delivery of gold Trump sneakers. I'll hold on to them until they're worth their weight in pot metal. Which, that's a joke about Chinese metal. They take all the crappy metals, they put in a little kiln, all the different metals, so we call it shoddy pot metal. I mean, Trump didn't say it, but if he were to say it, probably sounds something like that. And yeah, he says, I lived in New Jersey and wondered why Atlantic City is never mentioned when it comes to business acumen or lack thereof. Trump's stake in Trump Media is $1.6 billion at the time of this article. If it drops to 0, he'd be in the 1%. A lot of people are referencing, saying he lost money to the banks in Atlantic City, talking about his old casino ventures. So, a couple of feedback on the left and the right in terms of the comics section. Now, again, in terms of the stock, and the company's performance. I mean, if you tuned to this show earlier last week, I did talk about the finances, talking about the quarterly results of the company, in terms of their revenue and their expenses, and it's terrible. It makes Black Rifle Coffee look like a good investment, which most people are saying it's not at the moment. It costs, the shares have decreased so much in price. It's actually cheaper to buy stock than an actual cup of coffee these days for Black Rifle Coffee, which is saying something. But again, with Truth Social, the sales are, I believe the sales are still less than $1 million. Which again, I think it was about $875,000 revenue. That's not profit. Which again, for a person, that's huge. That's life-changing money for an individual. Even for a small business, that's a huge testament. But if you're a huge social media company that's spending millions upon millions upon millions upon millions of dollars in expenses, not even $1 million in revenue, it's just not sustainable. And a lot of tech companies are profitable for many years, but they always have a path towards profitability. They have increasing revenue, they have decreasing expense. Like, I just don't see the mechanisms or route for this to actually become viable. Now, again, if X Twitter, I mean, if Elon gets, that goes away, or Rumble.com goes out, I think that path towards profitability and a long-term sustainable business is there more likely, because then you have fewer resources and availability for freedom of speech. But because you have the competition, again, unless you're a diehard Trump fan, logging on to hear directly what he has to say immediately, I don't know a lot of my friends who are more libertarian, or my friends that are not really, really big into Trump, they don't see the compelling reason to sign up for Truth Social. And I'd love to hear what you have to say in the comments, because, as always, I'm curious. Now, going over to the political part podcast, you have a Haitian politician sipping from a jug of water, or a pitcher of water, rather, during a UN speech, which is hilariously awkward, which is saying something because I don't have much ground to stand on myself. This comes to us thanks to open source intel, which they say, quote, a Haitian politician sips from a massive jug of water during his speech at the UN General Assembly. Now, this went hilarious enough. This is one of the most viral things to happen this month. It got 7.7 million views within the first couple hours of it got posted last Friday night, and it got 26,000 likes, which is funny. I'll probably give it a like as well. And it's not too long. It's about 8 seconds long. And to the Haitian politician, he did do something right. As all true gentlemen do, he did suit up, as we all should do, which Zelensky could take a leaf out of his book, so to say. Guy's got almost $200 billion from us. He sells a sweater. Really? But I partially digress. Without too much further ado. Oh, jeez.
Respect for its dignity.
Oh, that's... It also got on his jacket, too. Let's do it one more time. Actually, is there a slow motion option on the Twitter? Video quality, playback speed. There is! We've never done that. This will be a first on the show. Mark this date in the calendar, folks. This is a first. We're watching 0.25 a quarter time. This is where he goes, the Marco Rubio. Oh, look at him. He has the picture. Oh, the balance isn't there. It spills all over. Now in his defense, there's a lot of condensation on that picture. Maybe he misjudged it. And it's all over his jacket. Thankfully, it's a dark navy jacket. It's a nice jacket, don't get me wrong. But it kind of hides it.
Respect for its dignity.
The fact they said dignity too was also hilarious. I was going to say darn near perfect time in terms of comical relief. Now, if he was being bombastic and, dissing the UN for being mostly oppressive, hating gun rights, and being mostly useless, and being a globalist movement, I kind of respect him. If he was being bombastic, he'd be like, screw you guys, something like that. But no, he was seriously trying to take a sip from a jug of water, or a pitcher of water. Another interesting question for the comments. Where do you live? And I wonder if that's a cultural thing in terms of area of the US or the globe in terms of, do you call it a pitcher of water, or do you call it a jug of water? So for some folks in the South, the jug could be, the traditional old school thing, or a different apparatus altogether. Yeah, I think it's a moderately interesting question to throw in the comments. Why not? And some of the top results coming from American Made says, quote, and if the first two quotes he actually has is from Trump. So, and again, the third one isn't. But I'll go ahead and I'll give you my Trump impression. It might hurt your earballs. It might be the worst. I was going to say, I would say it might be the worst impression that you heard all year. That's not what Trump would say. Trump would say something to the effect of, Topping is the best impression. It gets all the clicks. Yesterday he got 5 likes on a video. It was epic, at least statistically for him. Now in terms of the American Made comments, the best American Made comments, that's why we come for the best. We have the best comments. And he says, quote, they're eating your dogs, they're eating your cats, they're drinking from the pitcher. But we should probably stop. So perhaps that was the worst Trump impression you've heard all 90 years. Vote down in the comments or something to that effect. And that got 2,000 likes. Not me. I got like 1 like in video last week, which is better than 0, statistically speaking, infinitely. But that did get 2,000 likes for his specific comment from American Made. We also have Mike saying, quote, says, don't they have cups in Haiti, getting 3.1 thousand likes, which, I mean, a couple years ago when I was in high school, everyone in the U.S., or darn near everyone, donated $10. They should have many resources, fiscally speaking, to buy cups. Again, I appreciate the feedback in the comments. I know I speak way too fast, but believe it or not, I have a theory. When I first started the show, no subscribers, well, except maybe my family, but at the time, I spoke terribly. Even worse than now, I spoke really fast. Yes, faster than now. I was very much monotone. I was even more awkward than I am today, which is saying something. But as I slowly but surely gained subscribers, I've been increasing my speaking acumen. Some might argue it's just a modicum of improvement, but I have a theory. The more subscribers I get, the better I become at speaking. So far, I believe it's been true. So if you feel that theory and click that button, I would greatly appreciate it. And someday, I will perhaps make it through an entire episode of speaking completely fluently and articulately. Granted, some might say it's a pie in the sky goal, but you gotta aim high in life. So if you can click that button, I think it would really make the show better. So I greatly, especially appreciate it as I try to read through the comments and read in general. Now, one of the best ones going is from Aiga Yoha saying, quote, I've seen that movie already. There's a little clip, it's about 30 seconds long, but definitely worth it. It's from The Dictator with Sacha Baron Cohen.
Drinking from the pitcher of water directly as opposed to the glass that I'm sure must be up there. What do you think that means?
It's another attempt to say,
nasty. I'm sorry,
listen,
folks.
I'm not going to play by your rules. And he seems to have a pitcher of urine out.
I believe he just urinated in the pitcher.
I forgot about that.
He is now drinking his
What looks to be his own urine.
Sonny, you want?
Trying to force it on the Israeli delegation. That might be the ambassador. He is dumping the urine.
Oh, jeez. Yeah, sorry, folks. Forgot about the second part. It's probably been a decade since I saw that movie. That clip did get 1.5 thousand likes. 3-year Letterman says, quote, just being efficient and IMO. Say, getting 1.3 thousand likes. Let's see here. Nugent Rope. Hashtag the humanist. Says, quote, how do you do, fellow civilized people? Getting 5.5 thousand likes. Which, again, he did suit up. I'll give him that. I mean, every man always looks his best in a suit. Let's see here. Other top comments coming from Andrew Mullins saying, well, there was nothing in the small glass, so getting 198 likes. Bojack says, quote, the only way this would have been funnier is if he tried to drink from it with a tiny straw that he couldn't wrangle. Getting 762 likes. May says, that was awesome, getting 176 likes. Let's see here. The Rio Fred Garwin says this should be hung in the Black Smithsonian. The screenshot of him holding the picture. He had it for a second. He had it, but again, that's a large volume of water, and the weight is awkward, and just lost control. I got 668 likes. Lord Scholar Rogue says, quote, was that before or after he ate the pets, getting 917 likes. Oh, jeez. Paul Hurton says, probably just to wash down the cat, getting 943 likes. I almost feel bad for this speaker, because, again, public speaking is not easy. Truth be told, it's the #1 fear for most folks. And, yeah, everyone makes mistakes. I'm pretty sure Marco Rubio will never hear the end of that silly political mistake of taking a sip of water. Because a lot of these are related to cats and roasting him. Let's see. I'm trying to see if there's any upside or any positive comments trying to give this guy a break. Oh, jeez. Booze Newsy says, tough to wash down those hairballs. Requires a lot of liquids. Getting 680 likes. Someone has a Gadsden flag, but it's been modified with the cat. It says, don't snack on me. And I got 237 likes. So, again, it's not. I think in terms of I don't think it's too insulting. It's not, calling him an evil name or anything like that. Oh, jeez. I say that, and yet someone did an animated video of him. He replaced the picture with a cat. Now, this is from No One, I'm Above the Law. That's the profile name. Says, who did this? I wonder if they added comical relief in terms of the sound. Oh, yeah, they did. So they just rudimentary, well, to me advanced, I use Microsoft Paint for my photoshopping. But yeah, someone actually just photoshopped it so that the picture is placed with the cat. Got 8 likes for that. Of course, now I have to probably click that button on the YouTube that says, oh yeah, that says AI or manipulated images. Interesting. Let's see here. And a couple folks calling for the defund of the UN, which, yeah, I'd love to see the business justification of all the money the U.S. spends around the world and like what justification of what we actually get out of it. Can't help but think it'd be a hilarious, awkward conversation to like live stream that. Have Trump be on. Trump should just bring back the apprentice show as president. He just calls in all these places where we give him billions of dollars. Go, what would you say you do around here? How does this help everyone in America? How does this stabilize the world with the global economy so Americans can sell more products, goods, and services around the globe? Or I guess a cliche, the Office reference, or was it Office Space reference rather? You go, what would you say you do around here? Probably like that NATO conversation we had where you talk, pretty much most of them were not paying their fair share of the commitment of 2% GDP. And he goes, well, why, if we're paying over 2%, but all of you are paying under, why would we bail you out when you're not living up to the contract? Which again is something that no president or politician had the guts to actually ask them before, but Trump actually did. So it'll be interesting. I mean, it's a funny little pun with the Haitian politician. And yeah, I can't think it'll probably go viral for a couple more days, but leave me in the comments because, as always, be fascinated to hear what you have to say. Other interesting political news, you have the U.S. fast-tracking folks to become citizens right before the election. I was going to say, what is this conspiracy theory? 9,958,735,003 confirmed? I may be exaggerating just by a little bit. Now, this is brought to you thanks to the profile on the good old X Twitter, known as End Wokeness, in which he specifically says, quote, we're running out of conspiracy theories. And it's a screenshot of an article from the Los Angeles Times, which, fascinatingly enough, Los Angeles is still a place, even though, all the crime over there, it somehow still exists. I'm actually honest that San Francisco still exists, with the exception of, like, Levi Strauss and Salesforce headquarters down there keeping the place afloat. Most businesses and folks are leaving in droves. Now, they say, again, this is the Los Angeles Times article, saying, quote, with an election looming, the U.S. is approving citizenship applications at the fastest speed in years. Which, yeah, wonder why. Now, it went almost viral. Well, I'd say viral. It got right under 1 million views, coming in at 955,000 views, as well as 28,000 likes. There you see a bunch of folks holding up the American flags, which, dude, if you're actually holding up the American flag, you can pass the proper test. You pass background test, as well as you have the citizenship test, and you have the resource allocation necessary. Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, immigration is a core component of how we expand. But, I mean, there are some folks where there's no assimilation. They just bring their own country's flags. They hate the United States, and they're, fiscally speaking, they take a lot of resources without paying into the system or actually contributing in ways that is sustainable for the economy. And I mean, divisiveness is not great. You can't, without assimilation, you can't have a country. And there's a reason you don't see any Cubans with flags. The country is terrible. My family got out of that hellhole right when Fidel took over. Thank God they got out safely. They're one of the last planes out. Perhaps another story for another time. But ask a Cuban if they ever go back. Hell no. I would laugh if I saw someone with a Cuban flag. I'd be like, why the hell? The Fidels destroyed that country. But I partially digress. I'll get back to the actual, the comments of the articles. Now, again, my pre-val got right under a million views. One of the first comments coming from American Papa Bear says, quote, aren't they conspiracy theorists about 160 and 0 at this point? Yeah, getting 71 likes. I also have Paul Zupa saying, quote, and the ones who don't become citizens, don't worry, Democrats blocked legislation that would have made it illegal for illegals to register to vote. Democrats are cheating like never before, but worse, getting 181 likes. Playing memes, finally, they're a little, I was going to say overdue, but they've been doing a lot of non-memes lately, so they actually did use a meme this time, or a meme, if you want to sound fancy. And they say, quote, accurate with a meme. It has the old-fashioned picture of the guy holding a coffee mug, and he is suited up, of course, as Allman showed. He says, quote, I'm not a conspiracy theorist. Things are adding up, and it's pretty obvious theorist. Getting 293 likes. See here. Base Electrician says, U.S. CIS officer, we have reduced the citizenship requirement to simply drinking a glass of water. Haitian grabs the whole water. Close enough. The Haitian guy's going viral all week. Got 49 likes. James Pleckelhard says, quote, are you still considered a conspiracy theorist when everything they said the past 3.5 years have been proven to be true? I'm safe either way. It's a log cabin covered in aluminum foil. And 431 likes. You have Natalie Soria having a meme with Kamala Harris photoshopped to the old Scooby-Doo meme where Freddy is pulling off the mask of the ghost, and the ghost mask as illegal immigrant takes off the mask and becomes voter. And 124 likes. Here. Also have Jared March said, "Here we go." It's a little graph of how they won in 2020. Where Biden was pretty far behind, and 3 in the morning just went spiked up. It says what they'll try to pull off in 2024. And then it showed the delta between Trump and Kamala is huge, or Trump would say huge in this graph. Then immediately jacks up. They got 194 likes. See, finally a contrarian statement. Had to scroll a little bit there, but I'm a little suspicious of this person. Claims to be a human, though that's just sort of computer would do, wouldn't it? Now his profile name is Human Unity, and the profile name is called Human with the emojis peace sign, U.S. flag, interestingly, Ukrainian flag, and blue wave. And he's a radical leftist, but more diversity of opinions, the better. And he said, quote, "You'll never run out, Jack." Huh. He did get 3 likes for that comment. All right. Let's see. Stella says, "Turned out all the conspiracy theorists are just normal people who saw through the BS. Who would have thought that coming? Oh yeah, the conspiracy theorists who were right." Getting 39 likes. Let's see. Down to Trump's satire account says, "Kamala and Biden are the puppets of the elitists. Trump fights for the people." Yeah, a picture of Biden, Kamala, and Tim Walz. And Biden above him, the picture says stolen election. Above Kamala says stolen nomination. And above Tim Walz, it says stolen valor. It says Democrats, the party of liars and thieves. Getting 31 likes. Let's see. I also have a meme of Biden from American Sandy saying, quote, "The voter importation scheme progress says if you don't vote Democrat, I'll flood the country with people who will." Getting 27 likes. So, and I mean, illegal immigration is one of the top topics for the upcoming election. And yeah, it's one of those things where that's why I have very little, if any, faith when it comes to politicians. I mean, they've had this, there's a couple of cliche topics, which, don't get me wrong, they are very important topics, but the left and the right has been using them for decades to raise campaign funds. This, I think, is even more in-your-face malicious in terms of destabilizing the United States, because a lot of these places do not have the resource allocations to appropriately help people, and you also need to screen them. You have no idea where they're coming from. So it's also a security threat, not just economically, but also physically. So I'm pretty pessimistic in terms of will our country ever actually secure the border. I don't think, the mechanisms, all the incentive mechanisms aren't there. States actually get more House of Representatives and more representation because the census, moronically, actually does not count if you're a citizen or not a citizen, just if you're a human in that area. Again, it's a big incentive mechanism, just have as many people possible. So that's why I'm pretty skeptical in terms of, do I ever think it'll actually quote unquote solve this issue and have a secure border? We'll give $200 billion to Ukraine and other countries to secure their borders, but not ours. And again, I'm not really surprised they're fast tracking it. Chuck Schumer weeks ago said, "Oh yeah, we need to find a path to citizenship for these 11 million illegals who had come in past year." But let me know in the comments. Do you think what do you think the ratio will be, or percentage of people who vote in the upcoming election will be people who registered in the past 3 to 4 months? And even if they're new citizens, it'd be another interesting statistic as well. Let me know in the comments, because as always, it'd be fascinating to hear what you have to say. Now, going over to the business blunder of the day, you have Boar's Head now apparently being linked to a 10th death in their recall of contaminated meat. Yet another reason to don't even bother looking at the product codes. You can just throw it in the trash. Or if you're, I was going to say British is the United States recall, but if you happen to be a British person in America, the dustbin, as you would probably call it. Now, this comes to us thanks to USA Today, saying, and specifically it's Mike Snyder and Mary Walter, who are writers over there, saying, quote, "CDC 10th death reported in listeria outbreak linked to Boar's Head meats." They quote, "Boar's Head has closed the Jarrett, Virginia plant, which was the site of the listeria outbreak earlier in July, but the CDC continues to get additional infectious reports, and a 10th death has occurred." Which, yeah, in terms of the branding of a company, there's been bad recalls before. I'm pretty skeptical. I'm not sure. And again, this is financial advice if you want to. I'm not even sure if you can invest in it or anything like that. But outlook is, as Magic 8 Ball would say, probably not good. Now, they say, quote, "CDC has reported 10th death in the latest outbreak of it. The death was the second in the state of New York. The agency has reported 2 additional illnesses in the outbreak, bringing the total to 59 cases of illnesses in 19 states. All those infected were hospitalized." Jeez. And again, they've recalled more than 7 million pounds of liverwurst and other meats produced at the Virginia plant. Jeez. I can't imagine how these guys are still in business. Now, let's say, quote, When the CDC first reported the deadly outbreak in July 19, at the time the agency reported 28 people infected and 2 deaths that led to 2 waves of recalled products from Boar's Head, eventually accounting for more than 7 million pounds. They also said that the plant being closed put 200 or 500 people out of work, and they're skeptical if they ever come back online. With right now, there's no reports that it is going to happen. And, geez, yeah, this just gets worse and worse. And again, it's not just, obviously, the lawsuits, but also the morality in this company. I mean, I don't know anyone's going to trust them again. I mean, every company has recalls. I mean, there's no such thing as a perfect business that I could think of. Even Glock has issues, and they're as reliable as nails, or darn near. So, again, having this continue to be recalled, and I mean, shoot, I'm not sure about the resource allocation of the company that the board said, but they should be buying airtime, putting articles out, I mean, just to get the word out. It's going to make short term. It's going to make the situation worse because again, it'll chisel away the brand reliability and the perception, which has already been beat up pretty good. But again, they should be spreading this for as much as possible. Just admit, in my opinion, I think it'd be better for PR and just a moral thing to do. Just admit fault, get this message out to as many people as possible, and set up, let them know here's a new plant, here's the metrics, or here's the steps we're going to take to ensure this doesn't happen again. And again, it's heartbreaking because people are actually passing away from this recall, even worse. In addition to ER folks being hospitalized as well. But I gotta say, they're not continuing to not handle this well. And the fact that another person has passed away, I gotta say, Boar said that you're yet again the business blunder of the day. Thank you everyone for taking the time to tune in. Again, trying to get to 4,000 subscribers by the end of the month. So if you can click that button, I would greatly appreciate it. Also, give me a thumbs up, thumbs down, or comment is a great way to give me some additional feedback, letting me know how I can make the show better and better. Lastly, don't forget to take time to tell your family, tell your friends, tell your coworkers, heck, to your enemies, anyone and everyone. Just stay safe and fight the good fight.